The LA Lakers have officially clinched a play-in tournament spot. Now they have 3 games left. I think they currently sit at 6th or 7th, so they can actually, if they win out or win at least 2 of the next 3 games and the right teams lose, they can actually be in the playoffs without having to deal with the play-in tournament. Now, way back when the team was 2-10 at the beginning of the season, I made a video discussing my thoughts on where I thought the Lakers could go this season. I'll leave the link to that video in the description. But as of last night, and the Lakers win, overtime win versus the Utah Jazz, the Lakers have now clinched a play-in spot. So LeBron James was the hero of last night's game. He hit the go-ahead layup to put them ahead by 2 points and to put them ahead for good um, against the Utah Jazz. He had a 9-point overtime, which is very, very crucial, very vital. He was the leading scorer of the game, and he scored, I think, 37 points on 27 shots. He was a 50% shooter last night, so you can't really ask him for a lot more. It was very frustrating though watching him in the third and fourth quarter. I think he was 3 for 10 from beyond the arc. He's not a 3-point shooter. He does like to shoot the ball, and it's very frustrating watching him shoot 3-pointers, especially when he does it early in the shot clock, especially when he does it without even moving the ball around and it's not in the flow of the offense. He just brings the ball past half court and chucks it up like he thinks he's Steph Curry, which we all know he is not. I think he's currently near the bottom 5 in 3-point shooting percentage in the league for this season. But again, he did make a timely 3 in overtime, and he did hit the go-ahead layup to secure the win for the Lakers. It should have never went to overtime had he been a little bit more efficient, a little bit smarter with the ball in the fourth quarter, had to let AD get more touches in the fourth quarter. I mean, the Lakers were up by 10 with a minute and a half to go. It should have never went to overtime. This is what gets frustrating because we're all prisoners of the moment. And, I used to be a bona fide LeBron James hater. And since he's come to the Lakers, I've gotten to see him play more and obviously even just being more realistic with, who he is as a player. I've started to appreciate his greatness even more. But that still being said, this is the frustrating part. You got a back-to-back, okay? The first night of the back-to-back, you go into overtime. You didn't want to have to play those extra 5 minutes because LeBron's 38. AD hasn't played back-to-back games in I don't know how long. And last night's game was against the Utah Jazz, who we're going to play again on Sunday. They're pretty much shut down for the season. They didn't have their 2 best players, Clarkson and Markkanen. It was basically like playing the bench squad for Utah. I mean, Kelly Olynyk had like 27 points and hit a 3-pointer to, help send the game to overtime. I mean, Kelly Olynyk was the guy who was guarding LeBron all game long. I mean, come on. This is no defensive virtuoso, okay? So why in a back-to-back scenario when you have the first night you're playing the Jazz, who you should be able to send AD. Shit, you don't even have to play AD and Brown. If you're planning on sitting those guys, because after the game, their post-game interviews, they both talked about they need to get reevaluated in the morning to see how their feet feel. When tonight's game is against the Clippers, a team who's beaten us 10 straight times in a row. Like the Clippers have owned the Lakers for like the last 10 years. They really have. And so why would you play versus the Jazz, who are rolling out their second string squad for all intents and purposes, and not play your 2 superstars against the Clippers, who are actually a threat in the standings as far as playoff seeding is concerned, and number 2 have beaten you 10 straight games in a row and have the actual better players. I would rather see LeBron and AD play against the Clippers in the second game of a back-to-back, because that's a more important game in my opinion, as far as rivalry, momentum, and psychological edge is concerned, than beating up a depleted Utah team who you're going to play again on the last game of the season Sunday. So, yeah, LeBron had a great performance. AD played well. I think he should have shot more than 16 shots. I mean, LeBron had 11 more shots than him. And, it wasn't always in the flow of the offense. I think he just decided he wanted to make the game more about him, which is fine because they won. But a lot of times in a lot of games, it goes against the Lakers for him to do that because there was a lot of frustrating times in the fourth quarter when LeBron was bringing the ball up court. It's like you got 2 point guards, you got Reeves, you got Schroeder, you even got Troy Brown. Let them bring the ball up. He gets most of his action off of cuts to the hoop and layups and things like that, anyways. I mean, it was a nice take to the hoop that put them ahead in OT that he did. I mean, he's the L train. He's his best skill is to the hoop. He's strong. He's got a good, still even at 38, a decent first step. He's strong and explosive, and he's hard to stop once he gets to the cup, especially with the way defense is set up in today's league with protecting the rim of the paint such. But still, he did what he did, and he did great, and that's good and everything. But him doing that against the Jazz is way less impressive if he doesn't turn around and suit up for tonight's game against the Clippers, which, like I said before, is more important for rivalry's sake, standing sake, the psychological edge. Lakers fans would rather see those guys beat up on the Clippers. It'd be much more meaningful than to beat up on the depleted Jazz. So AD, they've had him on this load management, no back-to-back thing. LeBron is supposedly coming off a torn tendon. I don't know. That's some miraculous healing. I can't call it, but I would much rather see them play in this game, the harder, the more difficult, the more challenging game. Impress me by being clutch in that game rather than in last night's game. I'm no expert. I just call it how I see it, and that's how I see it. Tonight's a tougher game. If you don't play tonight's game, you kind of diminish and weaken what you just did last night. I hate to say that.